And as this potential trade war ramps up, Elon Musk's task force has been pushing to gain access to sensitive government information targeting a federal agency. Chief Washington correspondent
Elon Musk just dropped a bombshell. Frankly, nobody saw this coming, and it has sent shockwaves across the internet.
What do you think about what Elon Musk has been tweeting about Britain and the Prime Minister over the last few days?
Well, what I say is that all social media companies have responsibilities as well.
Don't think I should go to, visit Britain because they're gonna drag out some tweet.
At the center of this storm is Angela Rayner. What do you think about Elon Musk's recent tweets targeting Britain and Prime Minister Keir Starmer? The tech billionaire isn't holding back, and his views have ignited a heated debate. Musk has openly criticised the UK's political environment, particularly Labour's leadership, and it's clear he's not impressed. But why does this matter so much?
My workload went up from about, 70 to 80 hours a week to probably 120. Yeah, go to sleep, I wake up, I work, go to sleep, wake up, work, do that 7 days a week. I'll have to do that for a while. No choice.
Let us dive deeper into this ongoing feud.
But a new book reports that you said he couldn't run a bath. Did you say that?
Well, I'm not, there's a lot of things that were said in that book that I don't recognise, to be honest.
So and did you not say that?
And it's tittle tattle, so I don't recognise what was said in that book.
But that's not tittle tattle. That's what the woman who's now the Deputy Prime Minister is reported to have said about the now Prime Minister.
Sure, and there was lots of other things that people have said about me or anyone else, and no, I don't recognise ever saying that to anybody.
Angela Rayner has been ramping up the pressure, demanding stricter controls over what gets posted on X, formerly Twitter. She claims it's all about combating misinformation and hate speech.
Between Diddy and Epstein, there's probably several thousand hours of footage here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that the people on those videos are lecturing the rest of us about our moral failings, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird.
What is that?
Well, part of how they deflect attention from themselves is by criticizing the morals of others.
Yes.
It's sort of like a preemptive moral strike. Those who are saying Trump is a threat to democracy are themselves actually the threat to democracy.
It feels like we're getting...
On the surface, it sounds like a noble cause. However, Musk sees it differently. For him, X stands for one thing: absolute free speech, no caveats, no compromises. When Rayner turned up the heat, Musk turned up the volume, standing firmly against any attempt to control what was said on his platform. His message is simple: governments should not decide what people can or cannot say online. This defiance has sparked a crucial debate about the nature of free speech and who controls the narrative.
I think people are in a state of somewhat shock as to what this new government is doing, I don't think there's room for... Personally, I don't think there's room for something like you've suggested, because what you're suggesting is a sort of rapprochement, and that's not going to happen, not while this government you've got is doing the kind of things.
Musk's stance isn't just ideological, it's personal. He's hinted that the UK's restrictive political climate under leaders like Rayner and Starmer has made him question whether he should even visit the country. Yes, one of the world's most influential figures is considering giving Britain a hard pass because of its leadership. Musk's concerns about the UK's lack of a First Amendment equivalent and its policies on online expression have struck chord with many. In his words, people are getting 2 or 3 year prison sentences for Facebook posts. That's unimaginable.
We allow people that you don't like to say things you don't like. Otherwise, it loses all.
This isn't just about Musk versus Labour, it's about who controls the online narrative. Are politicians tightening the rein to silence dissenting voices, or is this truly about tackling hate speech and misinformation? Musk's defiance raises an essential question. Is free speech really free if someone else is pulling the strings? Critics of Labour, including Nigel Farage, argue that this is just another move by the party to centralise political control, further alienating the public.
Very punchy about it, because we will build the homes that we desperately need.
You say you're being punchy, but this is not very Angela Rayner. Why can't you just say, look guys, the newts, the black-legged kittiwakes, the bats, you're going to have to take second place to getting houses for people.
Well, I believe we can offset, look after them, but at the same time not stop building.
All right.
Because we can't have a situation where a nuke's more protected than people who desperately need housing. What we need is a process which says protect the nature and wildlife, but not at the expense of us building the houses we need. We could do both.
All right, let me ask you...
But Rayner's challenges don't stop with social media. Her ambitious promise to build 1.5 million homes to tackle the UK's housing crisis has also come under fire. While it sounds impressive, experts are sceptical. With skyrocketing construction costs, a shortage of skilled workers, and endless delays in planning approvals, the plan seems more like a political stunt than a feasible solution. And even if these homes are built, critics ask who will actually afford them, with energy bills soaring and taxes of record highs. Labour's plan appears out of touch with the realities faced by ordinary Britons. In a recent interview, Rayner's inability to provide clear answers about the housing strategy further damaged her credibility. When pressed on whether environmental concerns would delay construction, she stumbled through her response, creating a viral moment that made her seem disconnected from the public. This blunder only added fuel to the fire, as critics, including Farage, accused Labour of prioritising migrants over British citizens when it comes to housing allocation. Rayner denies these accusations. But the optics are bad and the public isn't buying her explanations.
On your own figures, we're also going to add to our population at 2.5 million people over this same period. Are you content that more than 5 out of 7 new homes will go to immigrants?
Well, that's not the truth, and that's not the
That's
case.
what will happen.
Well, that's not the reality, because we've,
where
in
the
particular, in
2.5 million immigrants that are in Rachel Reeve's budget figures going to turn up? Where are they going to live?
Well, there's plenty of housing in the UK, but the houses, especially social
hang on.
affordable
You can't,
homes
on
that
the one
we're
hand,
building.
say we've got to build this 1.5 million houses, and then...
Farage didn't hold back in pointing out the contradictions in Labour's rhetoric. How do you plan to build 1.5 million homes, but also claim there's plenty of housing available, he questioned. This criticism highlights Labour's growing disconnect from the realities faced by British citizens, further eroding public trust. Meanwhile, Musk's involvement in this debate has added another layer of intrigue. His criticism of Labour isn't just limited to free speech issues. He's also aimed at their broader policies, including housing and immigration. Musk's views align with Farage's on several points, creating a powerful narrative against Labour's leadership. Musk's influence, combined with Farage's relentless critique, paints Labour as a party more focused on control than progress.
There is word that he believes that Reform UK and Nigel Farage will form the next government in this country. Certainly, I would agree that the direction of political travel over the next few years is going to be rightwards. Same direction. I think Elon Musk is sensing this. That's why he's so theatrically picked a fight with Keir Starmer. He's at war with the British government. Now, the word is he is prepared to put his money where his mouth is by donating to Nigel Farage's Reform UK party $100 million. And in that respect, he might succeed in transforming the face of British politics.
12,000 people have been given prison sentences in the UK for social media posts where there was no explicit link to actual violence, but they just said it encouraged violence. I'm like, well, did anyone actually do anything as a result of that media post? Well, no, but they're just and then they have a prison overcrowding situation in the UK, so they're quite literally releasing convicted and putting people in jail for Facebook posts. There's an actual thing happening.
The story doesn't end. Rumours are swirling that Musk is considering a massive $100 million donation to Farage's Reform UK party. If true, this would be the largest political donation in British history and could significantly boost Reform UK's chances in the next election. While Musk's financial support is speculative, the mere possibility has sent shockwaves through the political landscape.
And Elon Musk said on X, on the announcement of your appointment, that this was, quote, interesting. Yes. Are you going to try and raise funds from him? And have either of you had conversations with Elon Musk or his team about donations?
We've had no conversations yet regarding donations. Elon's obviously very close to President Trump. Nigel's also super close to President Trump. As you know, we helped, via my wife, do the largest Republican fundraiser ever done outside of America. If Elon wants to give and it can be given legally, then of course Reform would be very interested in that.
Because, Nigel Farage, there was talk about an £80 million donation from Elon Musk.
A Sunday newspaper story without any basis of fact. Now, let's be clear, Elon Musk is very supportive of what Reform is trying to do, supportive of me personally, and we've got good connections with him. Nick's got good connections with him as well.
He's messaged me this morning.
But there you are. So
He's messaged you this morning?
Yeah, we're speaking, so probably later today.
What did he say?
I cannot discuss that.
A cash injection of this magnitude could transform Reform UK from an underdog to a serious contender, challenging Labour's grip on power.
It's because Elon believes in free speech, and Keir Starmer locks people up who say nasty things on Facebook. So that's
Jackie, do you want to answer that?
No, he doesn't.
No. Well, the justice system does. We've got two-tier care, we've got two-tier policing, and two-tier justice.
I'm sorry.
And that's where we are.
We need someone leading our country in difficult times, when the world is perhaps in a more perilous place than it's been at any point in our lifetimes. You do need a degree of charisma. Now, Keir Starmer has the charisma of a... Well, I did use this 10 years ago in the European Parliament, but I'm going to dig it out of the cupboard. He has the charisma of a damp rag. And what does he stand for? What does he stand for? He can't even define what a woman is. He flips and flops and changes his mind.
But why would Musk back Farage? The answer lies in their shared frustrations with Labour policies. Musk's disdain for Starmer's leadership and the UK's political climate aligns with Farage's critique of Labour's handling of immigration, housing and the growing movement against the status quo, appealing to voters who feel left behind by mainstream politics.
Relative newcomers to this country who are being provided with free accommodation on site. Now, it's supposedly only temporary. We asked the council how long that means these people will stay for. They aren't able to answer that question. They say this is all very new. You know, we can't say yet. It remains to be seen how long they'll stay. In other words, in brackets, they don't have a plan.
Some events that could turn everything upside down there. I'm hearing reports that Elon Musk is set to donate £100 million to Nigel Farage's Reform Party. If that's true, it would be, as I understand it, the biggest political donation in British history, and it would sure put rocket boosters, if you'll excuse the SpaceX pun.
Of course, Musk's potential involvement raises questions about the role of money in politics. A billionaire funding a populist campaign could reshape the political landscape, but also invites criticism about undue influence. For Farage, however, Musk's support could be a game changer for Reform UK, because it will give the party resources to take on Labour head-on.
A new Prime Minister get off to a worse start than Keir Starmer. It's truly shocking. I mean, the message of things can only get worse is hardly inspiring, is it? And now we're living in a state, and you all know it, but they'll deny it in Westminster until the cows come home. We're living in a state with two-tier policing. We're living in a state with two...
As Labour struggles continue, the political landscape in the UK is shifting. Figures like Farage and Musk are gaining traction, challenging Labour's dominance.
But you spoke to Elon Musk. The big chat here in Westminster while I've been away is reports of $100 million to your party. Has he pledged any money to... Are you in talks about a deal now?
That $100 million story, I mean, where the Sunday Times got that from, I have no idea. Probably some bloke...
So how much will it be then?
Probably some bloke down the pub.
You're in the pub all the time, it could be you.
Well, I do keep my ears open, you know, it's very important. No, look, there are two things we talked about. Number one, what really fascinated me were the margins by which Trump won in the 7 key swing states. And the person behind that was, one, Elon Musk. I spent an hour going through with him what his strategy was, how he got new voters registered that weren't on the electoral register, how he used various tech tools to get out the vote on the day. There's some revolutionary stuff here. And I'm pledged to professionalising reform. I took copious notes yesterday. I've learnt a huge amount.
And he will help, X will help Reform UK at the election coming up.
He's already given me considerable help.
With targeting voters who can't
Understanding the process from start to finish, reaching disaffected communities who frankly feel there's no point voting for anybody, but just to get...
This isn't just political bickering, it's a battle for the future of the UK. Labour's grip on power is slipping, and with the next election approaching, the stakes couldn't be higher.
Show there is absolutely no enthusiasm for Starmer's Labour whatsoever. And it was interesting to watch Starmer speak outside number 10, his first Prime Ministerial address, having been to see the King. And you know, in the course of that speech, he looked down at his notes over 150 times.
From all indications, Labour is struggling to maintain its popularity with voters. But is it a surprise that they have lost so much credibility?
Are you 100% confident Angela Rayner's done nothing wrong here?
I'm very confident.
100% confident?
I'm very confident in Angela Rayner.
That's different to 100% confident.
Look, don't try and play a game on this. I've been absolutely clear. Angela's answered all those questions. I have full confidence in her. I've expressed that over and over again. But I really think that you should be asking questions about the state of the NHS. I think you should be asking questions about why Blackpool, which was promised levelling up, now has a bigger wage.
Not necessarily. There have been obvious missteps by Starmer and his cabinet that have given opposition parties a chance to overtake them in popularity. The main talking point has been the economy. Labour's policies have made things worse. Inflation has skyrocketed, the cost of living has reached new unexpected heights, and the NHS is in a worse condition than Labour met it.
Personal popularity, you're down 34 points. How much does that worry you?
What worries me is, and what gets me out of bed every day, is how we deliver for those people who voted us in July to change the country for the better.
But while you're away, what is it the mice might play? There are suggestions that Angela Rayner and Wes Streeting were joking at a reception just a couple of weeks ago about trying to get your job. Do you feel confident in your post?
Those jokes have been going on since the very first day I was elected Labour leader.
Well, what's it like to be a joke from day one?
Look, we are absolutely, we've got a huge unimportant majority in government. We've got a clear mandate for change. We're getting on and delivering that change. But I know it's got to be felt in the pockets of working people. They need to feel better off. That's what we're working on.
Well, we've had negative...
They need to see those waiting lists going down, which we're bearing down on, and we need to make sure
GDP negative for 2 months in a row, Prime Minister.
Where's
the growth?
Well, we need to go further.
But that is not all. The long list of broken promises to voters has created distrust between Labour and ordinary citizens. For instance, the tax hikes, which Labour promised won't happen, have caused a significant shift away from the party by voters. However, that is not the craziest part. The biggest problem with Labour leadership is the perceived lack of interest in the struggles of everyday people. Rather than address the economic challenges their budget has caused, Labour and Keir Starmer are busy picking fights with key businessmen like Elon Musk. If you enjoyed this political discussion, like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one.